Chapter 4. The essence. What makes every newborn child beautiful and adorable is his essence. The essence in itself constitutes his true reality. In all creatures, the normal growth of the essence is certainly scanty, insufficient. The human body grows and develops in accordance with the biological laws of the species. However, such possibilities in themselves are extremely limited for the essence. Unquestionably, without help, the essence can only grow to a small degree. Speaking frankly and bluntly, we will say that the spontaneous and natural growth of the essence is only possible during the first 3, 4, and 5 years of life. In other words, during the first phase of life. People think that the growth and development of the essence always occurs in a continuous way, according to the mechanics of evolution, but universal Gnosticism teaches clearly that this does not occur in such a manner. Something very special must happen, something new must be fulfilled so that the essence may grow more. I want to emphatically refer to the work upon oneself. The development of the essence is only possible on the basis of conscious works and voluntary sufferings. It is necessary to understand that this work does not refer to professional matters such as banking, carpentry, masonry, railroad repairs, or office matters. This work is for any person who has developed his personality. It concerns something psychological. We all know that we have within ourselves that which is called ego, I, me, and myself. Unfortunately, the essence is completely imprisoned, absorbed inside the ego, and this is lamentable. To dissolve the psychological I, to disintegrate its undesirable elements, is something unavoidable and non-excludable. This is the meaning of working upon oneself. We would never be able to liberate the essence without previously disintegrating the psychological I, religion, the Buddha, wisdom, the particles in pain of our Father who is in heaven, and all the information we need for the intimate self-realization of our inner being, are within the essence. No one would be able to annihilate the psychological I without previously eliminating the inhuman elements that we carry within ourselves. We need to reduce to ashes the monstrous cruelty of this day and age, envy which has unfortunately become the secret trigger of action, the unbearable covetousness that has made life so bitter, the disgusting slander, the calumny which gives rise to so many tragedies, the drunken revelries, the filthy that smells so hideously, etc. Accordingly, as all these abominations are being reduced to cosmic dust, the essence, besides becoming emancipated, will harmoniously grow and develop. Unquestionably, the essence shines within ourselves when our psychological I has died. The liberated essence confers upon us inner beauty. Perfect happiness and true love emanate from such a beauty. The essence possesses multiple senses of perfection and extraordinary natural powers. When we die within ourselves, when we dissolve the psychological I, we can then enjoy the precious senses and powers of the essence. Chapter 5. TOQs oneself. The essence that each one of us carries within his interior comes from above, from heaven, from the stars. Unquestionably, the marvelous essence emanates from the node LA, the Milky Way, the galaxy we live in. The precious essence passes through the node Sol, the Sun, and then passes through the node FA, the planetary zone, then enters this world and penetrates within our own interior. Our parents created the appropriate body for the reception of this essence that emanates from the stars. We return victoriously into the profound bosom of Urania by working intensely upon ourselves and sacrificing ourselves for our fellow men. We are living in this world for some reason, for something, for some special factor. Obviously, there is much in us that we must see, study, and comprehend, if indeed to know something about ourselves, about our own life is what we long for. Tragic is the existence of the one who dies without having known the purpose of his life. Each one of us must discover for himself the purpose of his own life, to discover what is that which keeps him prisoner within the prison of pain. Ostensibly, there is something within us that makes our life bitter, and this is what we need to firmly struggle against. It is not indispensable that we continue in disgrace. Therefore, it is urgent that we reduce to cosmic dust that which makes us so weak and miserable. It is useless for us to be conceited about ranks, honors, diplomas, money, vain subjective rationalism, aforementioned virtues, etc. We must never forget that hypocrisy and the silly vanities of our false personality make of us persons that are dull, rancid, retarded, reactionary, and incapable of seeing that which is the new. Death has many meanings, both positive and negative. Let us consider the magnificent observation of the great Kabir Jesus the Christ, "Let the dead bury their dead." Many people, although alive, are in fact dead to all possible work upon themselves and therefore to any inner transformation. They are people imprisoned in their dogmas and beliefs, people petrified in memories of many yesterdays, individuals fully of ancestral prejudices, persons who are the slave of what others might say, horribly lukewarm, indifferent and sometimes know-it-all ignoramuses who are convinced that they are right because that is what they were told, etc. Those people do not want to understand that this world is a psychological gymnasium through which it would be possible to annihilate that secret ugliness that we all carry within. If those wretched people comprehend the lamentable state within which they dwell, they would tremble with horror. Nonetheless, such people think the best of themselves. They boast of their virtues. They feel they are perfect, generous, helpful, noble, charitable, intelligent, responsible, etc. Practical life as a school is formidable, but to take it as a goal in itself is manifestly an absurdity. Those who take life in itself, such it is daily lived, have not comprehended the necessity of working upon themselves in order to achieve a radical transformation. Unfortunately, people live mechanically and have never heard anything about the inner work. Change is necessary, but people do not know how to change. They suffer greatly, however, they do not even know why they suffer. Money is not everything. Usually the life of many wealthy people is truly tragic. Chapter 6, Life in the Field of Practical Life, we discover astonishing contrasts. Wealthy people with a magnificent residence and with many friends sometimes suffer terribly. Humble proletarians of picks and shovels or middle-class people often live in complete happiness. Many multi-millionaires suffer from sexual impotence and rich matrons cry bitterly due to their husbands' infidelities. In this day and age, the rich people of the earth look like vultures in golden cages. They cannot live without bodyguards. Statesmen drag chains. They are never free. Wherever they go, they are surrounded by people armed to the teeth. Let us study this situation more in detail. We need to know what life is. Everyone is free to think as he likes, regardless of whatever people say. Indeed, nobody knows anything. Life is a problem that no one understands. When people want to freely tell us the story of their life, they quote events, names and surnames, dates, etc., and feel satisfaction when telling their stories. Those wretched people ignore that their stories are incomplete because events, names and dates are merely the outer aspect of the movie. The inner aspect is missing. It is urgent to know states of consciousness. Each event is complemented with this or that psychological state. The states are internal and the events are external. So, external events are not everything. Let it be understood that internal states are good or bad disposition, preoccupation, depression, superstition, fear, suspicion, mercy, self-commiseration, overestimation of oneself, states of one's sentiments of happiness, states of pleasure, etc. Unquestionably, internal states can correspond exactly to external events. They can be originated by the latter, or they cannot have any relationship with them whatsoever. In every case, states and events are different. Events do not always correspond exactly to compatible states. A pleasant event could be unrelated with its internal state. An unpleasant event could be unrelated with its internal state. When long-awaited for events finally take place, we often feel that something is missing. Certainly, the corresponding internal state which should have been combined with the external event was missing. Many times an unexpected event comes to be the one that has provided us with the best moments. Chapter 7, The Internal State. To correctly combine internal states with external events is to know how to live intelligently. Any event intelligently lived demands its corresponding specific internal state. Nonetheless, when people review their lives, unfortunately, they only think that their life is exclusively constituted by external events. Wretched people. They think that if this or that event had never happened to them, their lives would have been better. They think that fortune came to meet them. Yet, they lost the opportunity to be happy. They lament what they lost. They weep regarding what they despised. They moan when remembering their old errors and calamities. People do not want to realize that to vegetate is not to live, and that the capacity to consciously exist depends of the soul exclusively on the quality of the interior state. Certainly, it does not matter how beautiful the external events of life might be. If we are not in the appropriate internal state in those moments, the best moments can seem monotonous, tiresome, or simply boring to us. Someone anxiously awaits the wedding banquet as a great event. Nevertheless, it could happen that he could be so preoccupied in that precise moment that he really would not enjoy it. Thus, that party would become for him as dry and cold as protocol. Experience has taught us that not all persons who attend a banquet or a party really enjoy themselves. A bored person is always present at the best of parties, and the most delightful musical compositions make some people happy and make others weep. Those who know how to consciously combine the external event with the appropriate interior state are very rare. It is unfortunate that people do not know how to consciously live. They weep when they should laugh and laugh when they should weep. Control is different. The sage can be happy but never filled with an insane frenzy, sad but never desperate and discouraged, calm in the middle of violence, abstinent in the orgy, chaste when amidst lust, etc. Melancholic and pessimistic persons think the worst of life, and frankly they do not want to live. Every day we see people that are not only unhappy, but moreover, what is even worse, they make other people's lives miserable. Such people will not change, even if they would live daily from party to party, for they carry the psychological disease within them. Such persons possess internal states that are definitely perverse. Nevertheless, these people classify themselves as just, saintly, virtuous, noble, helpful martyrs, etc. They are people who esteem themselves to the extreme. People who love themselves too much. They are individuals who pity themselves too much and seek a way out to evade their own responsibilities. Persons like that are accustomed to inferior emotions, and it is obvious that due to such a motive they daily create infrapsychic elements. Disgraceful events like the setbacks of fortune, misery, debts, problems, etc. are the exclusive property of those persons who do not know how to live. Anyone can acquire a rich intellectual culture. Yet, few are the persons who have learned how to live in an upright manner. When one wants to separate external events from the internal states of consciousness, one demonstrates concretely his incapacity of existing in a dignified manner. Those who learn how to consciously combine external events with internal states march on the path of success,